It's time for the Prete Is On with Dave Prete here on 92.1 The Team, WCKR Hornell. Here's Dave Prete.
And welcome everyone to the Prete Is On. This is your host, Dave Prete, broadcasting from the front porch of the Prete residence, doing my civic duty and social distancing. And we're just beginning phase 2 of our economic reopening here in the area. There was some back and forth as to when phase 2 was going to start. It has started, and I know that there are some happy people out there, some happy business owners, as hopefully things continue to go in the positive direction and not backwards. We have on the show today, we have as guests Melody Harwood, the girls varsity head soccer coach at Arkport Cancerega. We also have Hank Himanen, who is a Division I baseball umpire. He does the SEC and the ACC conference baseball games, and of course no season this year, but we're going to talk to Hank about some of his experiences as an umpire. He's got some pretty good stories. Then we also have Kevin Hickson, who is the MMA champion, and a member of the Vicious Elite school here in Hornell. So we're going to talk to him in the final segment. Now, this has been quite a contentious week in Major League Baseball between the owners and the MLBA Players Association. The owners threw out a proposal to the Players Association this week that basically was pretty much laughed at by all players and agents and really anybody who is on that side of the baseball world. The owners and many of the players felt that the owners tried to lowball them into taking contracts for a shortened season that, quite honestly, the players feel is very insulting. In fact, it was so insulting that they didn't even want to make a counter proposal to the owners as far as, you know, what they want in their contract. So it's getting kind of ugly in Major League Baseball, and it's really hard right now at this point if you're going to pick a side of either the owners or the Players Association, because, well, I want to read a quote that was made this week on social media by former Atlanta Braves third baseman Chipper Jones. And really it hits the nail on the head. And, you know, as a Mets fan, I despised Chipper Jones in the late 90s, early 2000s when he and the Braves were, you know, beating the Mets all the time. And Chipper was maybe arguably the greatest Met killer in the history of the, you know, Mets opponents. Named his son Shea after the old Shea Stadium because he basically owned the Mets at Shea. But there's one thing that I do agree with Chipper on, and that's the comment that he made this week on social media. I believe it was on his Twitter account. And this is what he said, and I quote, "The 30 million people in America that are out of work right now don't want to hear about millionaire baseball players bitching because they're only going to get 25 or 30% of their salary this year. They just don't want to hear that." And I could not agree more with Chipper Jones. It may be the only time I ever agree with the guy on anything, but I couldn't agree more. He is exactly right. There is, when he tweeted this, there was 30 million people, and now I believe as of the time of this broadcast, it's over 40 million people in the country who are out of jobs. And here we have Major League Baseball players, many of them who are making multi-million dollar contracts, and baseball owners who are billionaires, going back and forth on who's going to make money, who's going to lose money. You have players like Blake Snell, of a pitcher on the Tampa Bay Rays, who's saying, I'm not going to play the season if I don't get my full salary. Now, when 40 million people are out of jobs in this country and struggling just to pay their bills, it is hard, very, very hard to be sympathetic and get behind people who are complaining about a few $1 million. And yeah, I get it. You know, a guy like Mike Trout who makes $35 million under the new proposal would only make $7 million in a shortened season. Still $7 million. I mean, if you can't live on $7 million, then you're doing something not right. And, you know, I said, if you listen to my broadcast the past couple of weeks, I said the last thing I want to happen to Major League Baseball is for this proposed season, which is not going to be under normal circumstances, to become a fist fight and a shouting match between the owners and the players over money. And it's exactly what is happening right now. In fact, the whole holdup for the start of the season a month or two ago was trying to figure out the logistics of how to play a season under the COVID-19 restrictions. It almost seems like that's an afterthought now. Now, it's not even about COVID. It's about the money. And, you know, there was a report out, I believe it was earlier this week, that said on the average, and of course this depends on what baseball club you're talking about, because some make more per game than others based on attendance and based on concessions and things like that. But on the average, the each Major League Baseball owner is going to lose $640,000 per game. That's right, per game. You multiply that by 81 games, okay? That's $51,840,000. That doesn't include teams who make the playoffs, because they're obviously going to host more games and make some more money and get some TV revenue. So $51,840,000. That's a huge chunk of change. I mean, that right there pays for, in some teams, it pays for almost their whole payroll. So if owners aren't making money because they're not going to have any fans in the stands, I don't understand how the players think that they can rightfully be paid the same amount that they would be paid under normal circumstances. It's just not economically feasible, and it's going to kill the game. The collective bargaining agreement between the Players Association and MLB, I believe, is renegotiated after the 2021 season. I can guarantee that the situation that is occurring right now is going to be brought up in the next CBA, and it's going to be contentious. And that's what I was afraid of when MLB decided to try and pull this season together. Now, here's an idea that could possibly help both sides. Now, whether it ever would happen or it's been talked about, I have no idea. Players could get a prorated amount based on, it could be based on service time, it could be based on their current contract, which is kind of what the proposal has been. Those teams, and you can shorten the season. You don't have to play 100 games as proposed. You could play 80 games or 60 games. Lengthen the playoffs. Let more teams in the playoffs. Instead of, I believe it's 14 now, let 18 or 20 teams in. Those teams who make the playoffs, those players get an extra percentage of money. So what happens is they have an opportunity to make more money if they make the playoffs. That allows them to play harder, because there are some teams who, you know, let's face it, they get to midseason, they're not very good. Take the Baltimore Orioles, for example. They tank the season, they cash it in. This way, in a shortened season, your odds of making the playoffs, if you expand the number of teams, increases. The revenue for the owners could also increase, because if you make the playoffs, you're going to get some TV revenue that could go back in to paying some of those players' salaries. I have no idea what the answer is. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. All I know is it's not a good situation right now with MLB, and if they don't come to some sort of agreement or some sort of conclusion in the next week or two, I'm thinking there's not going to be a season. Because if they don't start the season by at least, at the very latest, mid-July, I just don't see the point in even having one. So we'll see how it plays out with MLB. I'll keep you posted on this show as things happen. And we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I'm going to have, in our second segment, the girls varsity head coach of the soccer program at Arkport Cancerega coaching legend Melody Harwood coming up next. Stay tuned.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy from your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
This local sports show here on 92.1 The Team is brought to you in part by Rhonda Wilsey. Spring is here. Now's the time to buy or sell your home. When choosing a local real estate agent, choose someone with 2 decades of experience. Rhonda Wilsey has been helping people like you find their new home for over 18 years. Call Rhonda Wilsey at 607-382-4539 or email Rhonda at rhondawilsey@howardhanna.com.
Do you lead an active lifestyle? Are you trying to reach that next level in your fitness or active lifestyle? Stop into Next Level Wellness in Hornell. Next Level Wellness offers CBD options that help promote muscle recovery and regrowth. Their CBD products are the perfect addition to pre- and post-workouts. CBD helps reduce inflammation, allowing you to recover faster from workouts. If you're ready to step up your training or take your game to the next level, then stop into Next Level Wellness or shop online at nxlevelwellness.com. Next Level Wellness, 10 Seneca Street, Hornell, or call 607-385-3188 for more info.
Have you written a book? You can become a published author with Dorrance Publishing, the nation's oldest publishing services company. Countless authors have trusted Dorrance for nearly 100 years to bring their book to the market. Our professional team will edit your text, design your book pages, and create an appealing, eye-catching custom cover. Plus, our authors benefit from a custom book promotion marketing campaign that makes your book available where people buy books, like Amazon and brick-and-mortar bookstores. So make this free call right now to claim your free author's guide to publishing. Don't wait another day. Take one step closer to realizing your dream of becoming a published author and seeing your name in print. You've already written a book, so the next thing to do is make this free call right now to Dorrance Publishing and get your free guide to publishing. Call right now.
800-482-8399. 800-482-8399. That's 800-482-8399.
It's amazing what a simple refresh can do to make a difference in your home. And Lowe's is here to help make it happen. Start by shopping our new wall tile selection with hundreds of mosaics, including modern blacks and blues. Marble mosaics starting at just $7.98. And finish off your project with dual scrub and stain-resistant Valspar Ultra Interior Paint Plus Primer starting at just $24.98 a gallon. Whatever updates you need to make today and every day, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 2/19 U.S. only.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
And welcome back to the Prete Is On, our second segment of the day. And we have a special guest on our studio conference line. And before I introduce her, I want to read off some of her very, very impressive credentials. And she's had a long, very successful, storied history in coaching and in playing sports. And it starts all the way back when she was in high school at York Central. She was inducted to the Athletic Hall of Fame at York Central School. She played Division I volleyball at Niagara University, was hired at Arkport Central School in the 1983-1984 school year, where she spent her entire life, professional life. She's coached many sports, including girls varsity soccer for Arkport. Now it's Arkport Cancerega as the sports programs have merged. She started a youth basketball and soccer program, and both are still in existence in Arkport. She's had, as a soccer coach, 9 sectional titles, 3 state championships, Final Four visits, and she's also been named the New York State Coach of the Year 3 times. She's a mother of 5, grandmother to 8 children, married to her husband Gary for 38 years. I want to introduce at this time and welcome to the show, Melody Harwood.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
Now, Mel, that is quite an impressive, a very impressive history of sporting achievements, especially in your coaching career. Tell me, I have to ask, what has made you so successful, especially as a coach, in the 34 years that you've been coaching soccer?
Well, I had the I had the privilege of teaching phys ed and health, so for the same amount of years. So when you start a kindergartner and you start throwing balls at them and you can just watch their skills, you just start, it's kind of, I always called it like a piping system. We played around in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and then I started an indoor program for 3rd grade through 12th grade girls. And so when my seniors left, the 3rd graders would then be moving up, and eventually my 3rd graders were my seniors who won state championships. The other thing that I did that I would encourage coaches to do is get outside your area. I took a group to Italy twice. My seniors this year, this coming season, if I'm appointed, they went to Trinidad and Tobago and played when they were U12. So just getting them touches on the ball and feeling confident.
Great, and that's a great coaching philosophy and great advice to give to other coaches. I mean, I think sometimes a lot of coaches, and for whatever reason, stay inside that proverbial box and don't want to come out. But, man, giving your players any opportunity that they can is only going to benefit them that much more. Now, just a couple of years ago, Arkport and Cancerega combined their athletic programs, which obviously means included the soccer program as well. What kind of impact, if any, did that have on the soccer program, taking kids from Arkport and Cancerega and combining them together?
Well, for the varsity program, for the whole soccer program, it helped our modified a little bit. They hadn't had a program where it was just girls. They did girls, and then they made a modified team, I believe, a co-ed team. So when we flipped over, my last 2 years that I've been back, and including this year, I've only had one player from Cancerega, and she's a sweet girl. Parents are very involved. Now, the modified team, there was quite a few. So it really hasn't made a difference for us. The only difference is it's moved us numbers-wise, moved us up into a higher bracket, which I like. The higher the school, the bigger the school I can play, the better. I win-loss records really, they're not important to me. I split the seasons, frankly, into 3. 1 is regular season, 2nd is playoffs, and 3rd is state. And so I like to play bigger schools. So we went to semifinals in states with I'm not sure if statistically it makes any sense to you, but we went one season with a 9-7, and we played in state finals. We lost, but we still played in state finals with a 9-7 record because we played bigger schools. And so with Cancerega, that has helped us numbers, so we go up to a bigger D school.
That's impressive to be able to, have a 9-7 regular season and still, go that far in the postseason. And I know it's attributed to to the players, but obviously to coaching as well. I mean, that's just seems like your teams are always very well coached. They're very well disciplined. Whenever I talk to people from Arkport, that's the first thing that they say, Mel, about your teams is that just very disciplined teams, and you guys make very few mental errors on the field. So COVID-19 has ended the school year, put a damper on any spring sports programs. Really, it's, I really feel for all of the students, but especially the seniors this year who, we're looking forward to the final sports season of their senior year. Now, they're talking about possibly some more restrictions in the fall. Are you starting to prepare for that mentally as a coach, in case there is certain restrictions put on the, on the athletic programs, on the soccer programs, or are you forging ahead like normal? And what are you doing to communicate with your players right now to keep them in shape physically and mentally?
Well, first of all, let's go back to the juniors and seniors, especially the seniors that miss track, golf, baseball, softball, and if I'm leaving a sport out, lacrosse, whoever's listening, I'm heartbroken for them. However, if they're seniors and if the college coaches are worth their weight in gold, those kids should have already received some recruitment. It doesn't matter that they didn't play as far as those that want to play, collegiate level. But just emotionally, for the coaches to work so hard and you have a hot team coming in and these kids been sticking with you since elementary, that is absolutely, as a coach, as a player, I would have been brokenhearted. I can't say it any other way. I would have been angry and brokenhearted, but got over it. To answer part 2 of your question is, how have I mentally prepared? I have purposely left my captains alone. And my coach that does my clinician that does my camp every year. I was waiting till June 1st. I'm patiently waiting for the superintendent and athletic director, whom both I trust very much. Have I had some second guess and some anger, like how can I practice with a mask, with the kind of conditioning preseason that we do? Next week, I'm going to meet with my captains, and we're probably going to sit 6 feet apart with our masks on and talk about, quote, T-shirt, our Lady Wolves T-shirt colors, things like that. Go over their training. They always have a captain's practice once to twice a week, starting, right when school gets over, traditionally. I'm not sure yet. I just have to wait to see what my bosses say. But again, I have to be appointed. Each year at Arkport, the coach has to be appointed, and that hasn't taken place yet, out of respect to our Board of Education. I think I answered your questions, did I?
You did, and absolutely, and those were great responses, and let's hope you're reappointed, because again, with all the success you've had and all the respect you have from players and parents and families and all the faculty and staff, I would find it very hard to believe if you were not, but I do understand out of respect, you have to go through the process. So we're talking with Melody Harwood, the head coach of the girls soccer program at Arkport Cancerega. And so, Mel, being a person who's had a lot of background in athletics, you're now going to be very soon the mother-in-law of somebody who might be very familiar to people because he was represented the San Francisco 49ers in this year's Super Bowl. He is defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers, Eric Armstead. What's it like to welcome an NFL player into your family and all the stuff that that comes with it? Because I know there's probably a lot of times when you're out and about and people want autographs, people want pictures, and just kind of the fame that goes with the position that he's in. Tell me a little bit about that experience, welcoming him into your family.
Let's see. First of all, he's a man. He's a wonderful man. He just was blessed with a large body, a great brain. He's intelligent. He's the most blessed because he's marrying my daughter, who's a physician. But it's not new to us because he's been in our family for at least 3 years. How is it different? I got to go to the Super Bowl. I sat right in front. There was 6 minutes left, and we were up, and just how quick things can turn around. He was raised by a wonderful family, so he keeps everything straight. But why I care about him the most is nothing is more important than giving back to his community, and he gives back to education. He and my daughter, they did a huge thing for health and fitness and mental health 3 years ago, and they allowed me to get involved. He did a huge football camp, and so I got to see firsthand where he grew up, how he grew up, and then he just recently gave $50,000 through his fund. It's a nonprofit organization that he got Chromebooks for a school district socioeconomically that struggles during the virus this time, and he paid for 2 years. Now, they don't have a bus or whatever. He actually paid physically for Wi-Fi for that whole school district for 2 years. So he's a pretty special man. We went to a younger daughter's, or a friend's and a younger daughter's birthday party in Nashville, and we were interrupted multiple times. We've been at 49ers games and then went out socially, the next day, not that night, because usually he's exhausted and needs to hydrate and has team meetings and stuff. But the next day, we're walking down. We walk places, we get interrupted. He is never rude, and he just takes time and signs or said, can you meet me back here later? I'm going to dinner with my family. Yeah, man, sure. He's a good guy. So he breaks down and does the dishes when it's time to do the dishes. He wipes down the table after we eat if there's a lot of us. He brings a recipe, and him and my daughter cook. He's just a man, and it's pretty cool, but he's just a man. I hope I answered that.
Now that's a good man, doing the dishes and laundry and cooking, and really, because there's, I know I try to get out of it as much as I can, and I do it begrudgingly, but no, that's awesome. And I have had the opportunity to meet him on one occasion, and everything you said is exactly true. Just a very, very nice man who takes time and talks to people and is very kind and does give a lot back. So I'm sure you're very proud of him. You're very proud of your daughter, and congratulations to you on. Now, I don't know if they have actually gone through the ceremony yet or not. I know that was in the works, but if they have, congratulations on the new marriage in your family.
Thank you. They haven't got. Their wedding was canceled. It's supposed to be June 18th, but it was in Italy, and that's not taken place yet. So obviously, so everything's up in the air, and they're two young professional adults, so they'll figure it out, and they'll fill their parents in when they've figured it out. That's kind of how we feel about it.
Yeah, as a parent of a 20-year-old, I'm with you on that one. I'm still kind of waiting, but it'll come around. I keep hoping and crossing my fingers. So, Mel, thank you so much for joining us, and I wish we could talk longer, but we're at the end of the segment, and I have to go to a break. So I'd love to have you on again as it gets closer to soccer season and see what's going on. Hopefully, when the fall rolls around, we'll be at least, if not fully back to normal, somewhat back to normal with sports and everything. So thank you once again for coming on. That was Melody Harwood, head soccer coach of the girls varsity program for Arkport Cancerega. Mel, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Stay safe.
Thank you. That was Mel Harwood. We'll be back with Hank Kamenan after this break.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy. From your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-557-7921. 800-557-7921. 800-557-7921. That's 800-557-7921.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. That's right, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling today.
800-430-1891. 800-430-1891. 800-430-1891. That's 800-430-1891.
Producers have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer. Increased income is possible using strategies suited to your goals and may require buying multiple annuities and holding them full term.
And back here on the Prete Is On, the third segment of our show, and I have on our studio conference line a guest who has 25 years of experience in umpiring, graduated from high school in Penyan in 1986, went to Brinkman-Fleming Umpire School in January of 1996, where he then moved to Tampa, Florida, started working Little League in the spring of 96, became a member of the SEC conference staff in 2008, and then the ACC umpiring staff in 2011, worked the SEC tournament in 2016, and the 2017 regional tournament at TCU. I want to welcome Division I college umpire Hank Himmonen to the show. Hank, welcome to the Prete Is On.
The Prete Is On, Dave. I was thinking completely awesome, but the Prete Is On is a good title too. But thank you, man. It's awesome.
Well, there's the Prete of the moment. I don't know. You could turn it into a lot of things. I've heard a lot of jokes about my last name and over the course of my life. So I just thought, hey, I'm going to go with the Prete Is On. It's the catchiest one I could think of. And actually, I also have a Facebook page called The Prete Is On, if anybody wants to visit it. And I also have an email account, The Prete Is On, and Prete spelled Prete, by the way, at gmail.com. So I just had to get that little plug in before we get to the interview, Hank. So, Hank, you have been umpiring, as I said in the intro, for 25 years. Many of those years have been spent at youth level. You've spent a number of years at the college level, but now you're doing strictly Division I. And the SEC and the ACC tournaments, those are the big time tournaments. Those are your big time schools that you see on ESPN, that you see on all the different major sports channels. What's it like being an umpire in one of those huge conferences that where you draw 30,000 people sometimes in a stadium?
Well, I don't strictly do Division I. Early in the season, in January and things like that, we don't have a preseason like the Major League professional baseball does. So we start doing JUCO baseball, especially in Florida, because we can, in January, and then we start doing a little Division II, a couple weekends here and there, maybe an NAIA series, because we need to be, we need to see pitches, and we don't start Division I until middle of February, basically right around Valentine's Day, February, about the 15th. So I still do a little bit of other stuff just to kind of, see pitches and things like that. But I forgot what your original question was. But, what was your original question, Dave? Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I said, what's it like being an umpire in those major conferences where you?
Yeah, it's 30,000's a lot. I mean, I think the most I've ever done a game in front of was 15,000 at Mississippi State a couple years ago. Just because the college facilities they're not major league facilities, but it's still, every one of our games is on TV. In the SEC and ACC. So it's especially when you're doing the plate, it's nerve-wracking because if you screw something up, every friend you have is going to give you a nice text saying, what were you looking at? And I've had those, and it's not fun.
What's it like? I mean, because umpires aren't like the most popular guys in the stadium, especially if a call
How dare you say that, first of all? How dare
Listen, I've played and been around the game my whole life, and I've had my share of run-ins with umpires. And all joking aside, you guys have a very, very tough job to do. And you like you said, you could do 8 innings of great work, and then all of a sudden you make one bad call in the 9th inning that affects the outcome of the game, and you're everybody's enemy. So, do you have a story or a couple stories of maybe how things maybe have gone really wrong for you as an umpire? And
well, yeah, I do. Thanks, Dave. I don't like to think about that kind of thing, but in the last couple of years in the big conferences we've gone from kind of partial replay, video replay, to basically full replays. From basically when you watch a Major League Baseball game, we've got the same replay now. So, I mean, it reduces the arguments, especially on the bases and stuff. When you're doing first base, whatever, it reduces the arguments. They just ask for a replay, but it's really stressful when you have a play that is close, and they got to go to replay, and they're looking at it. And I had a couple years ago, I was at University of Missouri a couple years ago. I had 4 replays at first base, and all 4 of them got changed. Not my proudest moment. Bad. Felt terrible. I mean, it was just one of those situations where it was a perfect storm. There was this really crazy plays at first, and they got overturned, and it was not fun. It wasn't fun. When you have your supervisor calling your crew chief saying what is Hickson looking at, not a good thing. Not a good thing.
Have you ever had dirt kicked on you by a coach?
No, I mean, that whole thing of your hair blowing back and the manager yelling in your face, we don't get that in college too much anymore. When I first started, back in the 90s, it was a Wild West show down in Florida. Because I was coming up through the JUCO ranks in Division II, and the Sunshine State Conference, which is arguably probably the best Division II conference in the country, and it was heated. And it was a Wild West show. You'd be throwing 2-3 people out at night. It's crazy. But since times have changed. I mean, it's a different kind of situation. These coaches can't afford to be thrown out of these games. They're making too much money, and they're on TV, and it can't be like that anymore. So
now I know you went to you went to a school to an umpire. Tell me a little bit about how does the school work? What is involved? And Is it something that any aspiring ump should go to? You got somebody coming up through the ranks, or somebody maybe in the youth ranks that wants to advance, or is this a school that you went to that is really for people who want to go professional with umpiring?
Yeah, it was weird. I was 27 years old when I went to umpire school, which is really old, especially back in '96. It was very old. Most of the people that were there trying to get a job in minor league baseball were early 20s, late teens. So they had already done baseball, and I had never done a baseball game when I went to school. It was kind of a weird thing. I decided to move to Florida, got burned out of the restaurant business, and decided to go. It's 5 weeks. You live there, and you eat, breathe, and sleep baseball. It's crazy. It was probably the best investment I've ever made. It was back in the 90s. It was a couple $1,000s to go. I mean, that was meal plans and all this other stuff. I don't know what it is now. I know that some of the schools have changed. I know the school I went to, Brickman Fleming, is no longer around. That was in Cocoa, Florida. But it was a great experience. It was 12 hours a day. I mean, we would have classroom, just going over the rule book from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12:30, lunch, and then go on the field and start working on mechanics. It was pretty crazy because I had never done it. I had never done anything like that. So it was fun. It was interesting, but I was never going to make it in pro. I was too old at that point. 27 was a dinosaur back then. I mean, they needed guys in their early 20s, late teens. So.
Oh, to be 27 now, right, Hank?
No doubt. Now,
we are coming to the end of this segment. We have a couple minutes left. I know one of the cool perks about your job, I guess you could call it a perk for lack of a better term, you've had the opportunity at the level that you umpire at to see some guys who now are in the major league, some players. I know you had mentioned Andrew Benintendi, who is an outfielder for the Boston Red Sox, Jacob deGrom, who is a pitcher for the Mets, and actually when you umpired, he was more of a shortstop at Stetson University. Yeah. Tell me about, you don't have to name everybody, obviously, because I'm sure you've seen a lot come through, but give me some stories about a couple of guys who now are in the majors that you've had the opportunity to work with as an umpire when they were in college.
It's really weird, from my standpoint. It's hard you see guys that you're like, wow, this guy is a can't miss, and then he never does anything. But then you see somebody who, I had a kid, Joyce, he played for the Rays. I can't remember his first name. I don't know. I'm brain farting here. He played for a Division II school in Florida Southern, which is in Lakeland. And he was good, but he didn't seem like all of a sudden, he's a bona fide major leaguer. But then you see guys, who just throw hard. I had Chris Sale from the Red Sox. Well, whatever, he went to the White Sox, whatever. I had him when he was in college. He was 165 pounds, 6'6", and threw 98 miles an hour, and he didn't know where it was going. It was a little scary, but you could tell that kid had serious talent. And and Jacob deGrom, who you mentioned, we went to Stetson, which is a relatively smaller school, smaller conference, the ASUN conference, which is small. And he was a shortstop, but he would come in the 8th or 9th inning every single game if it was close, and it was ridiculous. This kid was 6'4" and 112 pounds. He just threw hard. It was scary hard. And it was like, what does this guy do? What is he playing shortstop for? But that's college. You get different situations like that. But I don't know. I can never tell who's going to make it and who isn't. Other people who get paid a lot more money, scouts and whatever, that's what they do. That's their job. But it's interesting to see it. And it's interesting to, after the fact go, well, I had that guy in college, whatever. He was good, but didn't think he would be that good.
Yeah, that's cool stuff, and I'm sure you've seen and heard a lot of different things as an umpire on the field. So, again, we're talking to Hank Himinen, who is a professional umpire at the collegiate level. And Hank, unfortunately, time has run out on this segment. I would love to be able to talk to you more about your umpiring experience. We certainly can have you on another show here in the future. Let's hope that there's some baseball this summer. I know that because obviously the college season was canceled this year, you also were unfortunately out of a job. But for the sake of us being baseball fans, let's hope that some sort of baseball, whether it be major leagues or minor leagues or whatever level, is played this summer, because without the sport around, it just doesn't feel the same here, during the baseball season.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about this, because I think the landscape is going to be changing drastically because of this COVID-19. It's going to change from the pro ranks, the minor leagues, especially college baseball, especially. There's a lot of changes that we're hearing about now that are going to take effect as early as maybe next year. So, it's changing.
Well, good luck to you, Hank, and hopefully, when next year rolls around, things will be difficult. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks again for coming on the show. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good one.
All right, that was you too. That was Hank Himmonen, the collegiate level Division I umpire, professional umpire, talking about some of his experiences on the field. And when we come back from break, we will have MMA local champion Kevin Hickson on the show. Coming back, Kevin was on our very first show back in March, coming back on to let us know what he's up to and how things are going. And I think he's still wearing the belt around his waist. I'll have to ask him. But Kevin Hickson when we come back from break.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy. From your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-557-7921. 800-557-7921. 800-557-7921. That's 800-557-7921.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. That's right, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling today.
800-430-1891. 800-430-1891. 800-430-1891. That's 800-430-1891.
Producers have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer. Increased income is possible using strategies suited to your goals and may require buying multiple annuities and holding them full term.
And welcome back to the Prete Is On, the final segment of the day. And again, a big thank you to Melody Harwood, who joined us in segment 2, and then Hank Himmonen, who joined us last segment. Hey, stick around after my show, because from 10 a.m. until noon, Joel Orient comes on right after me here on 92.1 The Team. He's got some cool guests today. Twisted Sister frontman Dee Snider, I Wanna Rock, who has done not only that, but has appeared on shows like The Celebrity Apprentice and hosts the House of Hair radio show, will be on with Joel, along with former NBA big man Joe Klein, who is the 6th overall pick in the 1985 NBA draft for the Sacramento Kings. He went on to play for 8 different teams in his career, from 1985 to 2000, including the 1998 Chicago Bulls, where he won an NBA championship. I believe that was the last championship the Bulls have won post-Jordan. And then last, but certainly not least, former Heisman winner and Pro Bowl quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Doug Flutie, of the famous Flutie Flakes, who'll give his thoughts on Bills Mafia, talk a little bit about the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism, and more. So great show in store on the Joel Orion Show coming up right after mine here at 92.1 The Team. So I have, in the final minutes of this show, making a second appearance. He was on the very first The Prete Is On back in March. I want to welcome, first let me give him the introduction that he very much deserves. He is the bantamweight kickboxing, K1 kickboxing champion and member of Vicious Elite, Kevin Hickson. Kevin, welcome back to the show. How are things going?
Hi, Dave. Things are going great. Besides the COVID-19.
Yeah, you still got the belt around your waist, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you were scheduled to have a fight back in April. I believe it was April 25th. Rage in the Cage up in Rochester, which is an event that is held a few times a year. That's actually where you won your championship back in February. Unfortunately, due to the current COVID situation, the event was canceled. So what are you doing right now to keep in shape? Do you have, some matches lined up if and when, we're able to get back to normal? And, what are you doing to train and just keep yourself physically and mentally in shape for when the next fight should occur?
Dave, I do a lot of just normal physical routines, walking around, I run, hit the heavy bag, just bought a dirt bike, so I ride my dirt bike, just things like that to stay in shape, and I'm just ready to get back in the ring and fight, do what I love best.
And so tell me what is the difference between kickboxing, MMA, UFC? I know they're kind of all of the same mold, but what explain to me the specifics of kickboxing.
So in kickboxing, there's no ground game. It is just straight striking. There's punches and kicks to be thrown, and you can clinch and knee only to the body and amateurs. And then MMA is mixed martial arts, so you can use any martial arts you've learned in competition. That's jiu-jitsu, rolling, wrestling, bunch of other mixed martial arts. And then UFC, it's just MMA, and that's it.
So do you train then for all three, or do you train specifically for kickboxing?
I train for kickboxing, but since we have a couple of MMA fighters, I've been rolling around and wrestling with them a little bit and doing jiu-jitsu and learning some stuff.
Okay, so and I mentioned, and again, we're talking with Kevin Hickson. Hey, Kevin, you are a member of the Vicious Elite, and I know we had the owner-operator of Vicious Elite, Hoss Coates, on back in March when you were on the very first show. Tell me a little bit, just to refresh people's memories, or to tell people who are listening to the show and are new listeners or listening for the first time, what is Vicious Elite, and what does it teach you?
Vicious Elite is it's a branch off of Vicious Ambition. Vicious Elite are the fighters that have fought and proven that they're going to stand in there and bang. And just to be a member of Elite, you just got to be straight vicious. It's dedication one time. The grind. You just got to prove that you want to step in there and fight. So that's a big commitment. And then that's pretty much it. Got to go all in.
Okay, so we're in the final moments of the final segment of the show here. So I have one more question for you. What's it like mentally when you're getting ready to walk down to the cage and you're going to be in for a fight? You're going to take some hits, you're going to take some kicks. Like, what goes through your mind? How do you prepare mentally for that?
I just stay calm and just think, we always make up a game plan. So always stick to the game plan, and we'll adjust after the first round. And I just think, I just got to go on there and do what I do. It's just a punch in the face and a kick to the head. I mean, I'm used to it. I love it. So that's everything. And that's the mentality you got to have. No matter how good you are, you're going to get punched, you're going to get kicked. No one's untouchable. Yes, you can dodge punches and stuff, but you just got to go in there and just be straight vicious. You got to, live in the moment and just, react and attack. That's the whole point of the game. So I just go in there and see the punches, throw the punches. You just got to react and attack and be straight out vicious.
That's going to be my new philosophy in life. Just a punch to the head and a kick to the face. I'm going to apply that to everything in life. Kevin, thank you for coming on the show, and I'm glad that you're still the owner of that beautiful championship belt. I had the opportunity to hold it when we were actually in studio. That's when we were allowed to be in studio back in March. Hopefully, if or when that next bout comes, I'm able to go and watch it. My son has actually joined the Vicious Ambition program this year, so he's actually preparing for what might be his first cage fight later this year, if it happens. So thanks for coming on and all the hard work you do. And I know you're an inspiration for some of the younger kids here in the area. So keep doing what you do. And good luck to you. Congratulations again on being the champion. And we'll hope to talk to you soon. That was Kevin Hickson from Vicious Elite and the K1 kickboxing bantamweight champion. And that concludes our show for this week. Remember, the Prete is on next week at 9 a.m. here on 92.1 The Team. So stay safe and stay healthy, everyone, and we'll talk to you next Saturday. And remember, Joel Orion Show coming up next. I'm out.